You got a good review. Your manager said you were indispensable. They mentioned a raise might be coming, maybe next quarter, maybe after the new budget cycle. So you waited. You worked harder. You made yourself even more indispensable. And somehow the raise never quite arrived. That is not a coincidence. It is a system. And most people do not see it for what it is until years have already passed. Here are 10 ways it works. 1. They make you feel like family. The moment a company tells you that you are family, pay attention. Families do not negotiate salaries. Families do not leave when a better opportunity comes along. The language of belonging is used deliberately. It wraps obligation around you until asking for more money starts to feel like a betrayal. You do not betray family. You sacrifice for them. And that feeling keeps you underpaid longer than any contract ever could. 2. They reward loyalty with titles instead of money. You get promoted from coordinator to senior coordinator, maybe from associate to manager. The title changes, the email signature changes, the business cards change. The salary moves just enough to feel like progress, but not enough to reflect the actual jump in responsibility. You now manage people, own outcomes, carry stress that did not exist in your old role. But because the word promotion was used, it feels like advancement. It is not always advancement. Sometimes it is just more work for slightly more money dressed up in a new name. 3. They make you the keeper of critical knowledge. Over time, you become the only person who knows how a certain system works, or how to handle a specific client, or where all the invisible landmines are buried in a project. This feels like value. And it is value, but companies know it too. They know that your leaving would cause chaos, so instead of paying you what you are worth, they quietly rely on that dependency to keep you in place. You stay because you feel responsible. They keep you because it is cheaper than replacing you or properly documenting what only you know. Your loyalty becomes their leverage. 4. They use incremental raises to suppress your sense of market value. 3%, 4%, maybe 5% in a good year. Each raise feels like a win in the moment, but those numbers compound slowly, while the market moves faster. Someone hired from outside for your same role 3 years later might be earning significantly more than you, simply because they negotiated at entry while you accepted small increments. The company knows this math. The annual raise ritual is not generosity. It is a managed system designed to keep you slightly satisfied and far from what you could actually earn elsewhere. 5. They praise you publicly and underpay you privately. You get the shout-out in the all-hands meeting. Your work gets presented to leadership. Your manager tells their manager about you. This visibility feels like momentum. It feels like the recognition is building towards something. Sometimes it does, but often the praise is a substitute for the raise rather than a path toward it. Public recognition costs nothing. It generates loyalty, effort, and patience without a single dollar changing hands. And when you eventually ask about compensation, they point to all the visibility as evidence that they value you, which is not the same thing as paying you. 6. They tell you your hard work will pay off later. This one is subtle because it is sometimes true and often not. The deferred reward is a powerful psychological tool. It keeps you working at a high level today in exchange for a promise that has no binding terms, no deadline, no specific number attached to it. Later is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Later can mean next year, or after a promotion, or when the company grows, or never. The vagueness is not accidental. A concrete promise would require follow-through. A vague one only requires your continued belief. 7. They make leaving feel risky. Your pension vests in 2 more years. Your stock options mature in 18 months. Your health benefits are tied to continued employment. Your visa status depends on this job. These structures are sometimes genuinely necessary, but they are also designed to build exit costs over time. each year you stay, more of these weights accumulate. Leaving starts to feel less like a choice and more like a loss. And so you stay, not because the job is right, but because the cost of leaving finally outweighs the discomfort of staying. 8. They frame your ambition as aggression. When you ask directly about pay, the conversation shifts. Suddenly, you are being told to be patient, to trust the process, to understand that everyone is in the same position. If you push harder, the energy in the room changes. You become someone who is difficult to work with, someone who does not understand how things work here. This reframing turns a reasonable professional conversation into a personality judgment. Most people back down. They do not want to be seen as aggressive or ungrateful. So they absorb the message and go quiet for another 6 months, and the cycle continues. 9. They compare you to people who have it worse. The economy is uncertain. Other companies are doing layoffs. You have good benefits, you have stability. These are real things, but they are also used as anchors to suppress your expectations. The comparison is always downward, never to what you could earn somewhere else or what you are actually worth in the current market. Gratitude is genuine and valuable, but gratitude engineered through fear is different. It keeps you from asking questions you have every right to ask. 10. They let time itself do the work. The longer you stay, the harder it becomes to imagine not staying. Your identity starts to merge with the role. Your professional relationships are all inside the same building. Your resume has one long entry. The idea of starting over somewhere new feels enormous, even when the somewhere new might be far better. Companies do not have to do much in year 7 or 8. Time has already done most of the work for them. This is not manipulation in a sharp or deliberate sense. It is just what happens when no one interrupts the inertia, and most people never interrupt it. None of this means your company is evil or that loyalty is foolish. Most of what happens here is structural, not personal. The incentives of an organization are almost never perfectly aligned with the interests of any individual inside it. That is just how it works. The thing worth sitting with is this: when you know how a system operates, you can stop taking it personally and start navigating it clearly. Asking for what you are worth is not aggression. Knowing the market is not disloyalty. Leaving when it no longer makes sense is not a betrayal. The most useful shift is a simple one. Stop waiting to be recognized and start making the case. Not loudly, not with ultimatums, just clearly, with evidence, and without apology. The people who get paid well are not always the best at the job. They are often just the ones who stopped assuming the system would reward them automatically.